You're welcome back, and here with me in the studio is the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, the person of Senator Godswill Akpabio. So you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you watched all the footages from the key, in fact, from all the states in the region. What do you make of it?
Well, it's the same feeling everywhere. When you see the pictures, you actually tend to understand what is going on in the region, and then, of course, pictures do not lie. What I witnessed there is clearly in line with the vision of the current administration, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. We believe strongly that there are too many abandoned projects by the NDDC in the region. And you can see the terrain quite challenging, and at the same time, people who probably do not possess the requisite skill to carry out some of the jobs went after the jobs, took the jobs, and at the end collected the monies and abandoned the jobs. Very, very sad. And it's the totality of this that made Mr. President to pronounce that we need to have a forensic audit to not just look at the projects in the region, but also to look at the amount of money that had gone into the region from 2001 till date, and then also to find out why we have had so much in terms of failures. We currently, I do understand that they have almost 12,000 abandoned projects across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. 12,000 abandoned projects. And if those things were completed, you can imagine that area would have been turned into an El Dorado. So I believe strongly that the people who conceived the idea of even the Niger Delta commissions in the past, right from when you mentioned in 1961, all the way down to the one in 1992 in terms of UNPADEC, and now to the 2001 NDDC, I'm sure they are very disappointed with what they have seen. As the governor, I used to complain about the NDDC, and my people used to tell them whenever they came around my state, hand over your project to my governor to supervise for you, because the standard of work done by NDDC. One of the speakers just pointed out that you just can't come into a very rain belt area, sandy region, sometimes with clay soil, and then you come in there and then just clear the ground, and then pour laterites on a black soil, and then do fanfare, bring in traditional place, bring government officials, and then they commission the road. 6 months after the first rainfall, the entirety of the road is washed off, and that money gone for nothing. So it's very sad what you have seen there, state by state. And I believe now people will know that Mr. President is justified in calling for a probe, and that's because he cares. I don't know why other leaders in the past never found it necessary to look into the activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission with a view to repositioning it and changing the paradigm. There's nobody that will be happy to see this kind of situation.
Now, you said why the failures, and I'm happy you also twisted this trajectory of failures with respect to all the efforts of governments of this country to see how we can turn things around for the Niger Delta region. And now, of course, you mentioned that the president has ordered for forensic auditing of NDDC, for the latest of them, started from 2000. Now, what is the way going forward? Now that you are in charge, what are those things you expect you want to do that will be uncommon to what has existed in the past?
Definitely, you know, I don't associate myself with failures. I always believe that if you are given an opportunity to serve, you must leave the place better than you met it. There is no way I will be made the minister of Niger Delta, and I'm a Niger Delta, and then the people will not feel the impact. Even from the time my name was announced by Mr. President, chiefs from Rivers State, different areas, were jubilating all the way down to Ondo, because they believe that change has come to the Niger Delta region. I believe strongly that my appointment is as a result of the pains and the agony Mr. President felt in terms of not seeing things on the ground. I don't like people to look at my leaves. I like them to look at my record. I'm also from the Niger Delta region. I had the opportunity of being a governor for 8 years, and to the best of my knowledge, I did my best. And then, of course, some of the roads I did 11 years ago are still functional till today. No pothole on them. And one of them is the Idoro Road that goes all the way to Itu. In spite of the fact that we have about 2,000 trucks carrying gravel and stone base from Akampa in Cross River State, and passing through that road. You don't have a single pothole up to this moment, 11 years after. And that you cannot say of any NDDC road in Nigeria. In any part of Nigeria. There's no way NDDC roads can last even 2 years. So a lot of things are going to be done differently. And I believe one of them will start from budgeting. Because the budgeting process in NDDC have been warped. When you have a project that should take 30 billion in a year, and you go down and then you go and put 5 billion, and then all sorts of things. At the end of the day, it means that you are intending to complete that project in maybe 6 or 7 years, and there is no regime that will have that kind of tenure. So we will start from budgeting. We will put money where we actually want to complete projects. We will not spread thin, where we want to make sure that every region or every village has something, and at the end of the day they have nothing after a year. So we will start from the budgeting process for 2020. And at the same time, with this audit coming up, we'll look at the low-hanging fruits. What are the projects that are at different stages that we could just plug into and then commission for the benefit of the people? 20 years or 19 years after, or let's say almost 23 years after they started the headquarters of the NDDC by Ompadek in 1996, 23 years after, NDDC is still paying rent. As at the last count, they are paying 300 million a year for the headquarters building in Port Harcourt. 300 million. I think they are paying it to Rivers State government. 300 million. And I hear that the rent may likely increase. So when I was appointed the minister, I went with the Honourable Minister of State. The first thing I ordered was that you can't stay here. Even the headquarters building is not even renovated, where they are saying. As I said, we must move to the headquarters. You can't have a commission with so much funds going into it, and they are saying rental apartments across Nigeria, across the entire region. So I have given my word to Mr. President, and that we are determined that within the next 6 to 8 months, he will commission the 13 stories headquarters of the NDDC. For the first time, let us start from there. And then we are also going to undertake this forensic audits and also project auditing. We will look at those projects out of the 12,000, the ones that we meshed, the ones that we donated to institutions around, and the ones that we can complete for the benefit of the people. And then we are also going to look at the healthcare situation. This is a region that is totally polluted. The land is terrible. And so in some instances, you need land reclamation because you don't have even land to farm because of the pollution that is going on there as a result of all exploitation and exploration. And so we need to get back the soil for the people. So side by side will be remediation. Side by side with infrastructure. We'll look at how can we assist the people in the region in terms of healthcare. So many people are dying of cancer, and then the hospitals are not there. And they're avoidable diseases. In some instances, even childbirth. So we are planning, so many things are on the drawing board right now, and we are brimming with ideas. We just want to get started. Yeah. But to be honest with you, in the next 3 years of Mr. President's tenure, for this second term, you hear positive stories about the NDDC.
All right, you said something very important, and that's the fact that the headquarters is in Rivers State, and perhaps NDDC is paying rent to government of Rivers State, who is also one of the United Delta states that we're talking about. All right, now, and you saw, Gochukuka's report, one of our correspondents, from Benin, he actually gave a soundbite to the governor of the state of Baseke, who complained also bitterly. Now, and you were a governor in Akwa Ibom State. Should there be a kind of synergy between NDDC, your ministry, and of course the governors of the area?
Well, we tried one. For instance, we have a community in Akwa Ibom, in Ibno, Mpanak, where Mobile has its operational base. And the road going there with about 4 bridges were in terrible situation. NDDC decided to intervene, and for 11 years, NDDC could not finish the road. And no sizable amount of work was done. So I had to take over the road. I had to intervene, and I went in there, and we partnered with ExxonMobil. And ExxonMobil was able to bring their own part. The state government brought its own part, but NDDC did not bring their part. But thank God, we decided, the government believed in doing a good job. So that road is now dualized, and the people can now move from place to place. So I think that kind of government NDDC partnership is something that must be encouraged, where the funds of the NDDC cannot meet up with the project costs. I think the government of the state should partner with the NDDC. Even local governments should do the same. But for me, I think that so much money had gone into NDDC. We should have done targeted projects that would change the lives of the people. If we are going to say we are going for employment opportunities, we should have been able to have some clusters of small and medium scale industries here and there. By today, we should have had a lot of people employed in different aspects, even in the agricultural sector. And sometimes they go into communities, just finish a project and abandon it, and it's occupied by rats and crocodiles because they hardly even hand that over to the state, nor hand it over to the local government, because the project sometimes will end at 80% or 70% completion, and that will be the end. And administration after administration will come, and they will embark on new projects. At the end, 12,000 projects in the Niger Delta region abandoned. You can imagine the amount of money wasted so far. I don't want to accuse anybody, because the financial audit is coming, and also the project audit will also come. But I want to thank the Nigerian Television Authority for what you have done. Even the idea that you went into the region state by state, and you were able to showcase most of the things that have been done. I want you to look at the quality of roads that were done. Those roads cannot last in a rain belt area. So for those who said, oh, social projects have been completed, and then look at the number of abandoned projects, then all the citizens that you have interviewed from Ondo State, across Delta State, all the way down to Bayelsa, there was no single person that said we are satisfied with NDDC. There were none. So for me, if I had the opportunity of running NDDC, I would be very worried that the scorecard is not something I should be very proud of. But we will do things differently. That's why I said it's good that these things are being shown to the public, so that 2 years from today, you come back and you say, how is NDDC?
Surely we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back. Well, many will argue that the failure of UNPADEC, NDDC, and the likes, with respect to developing Niger Delta, were partly because of corruption, political influence, and other underlying issues. Now, let's look at NDDC as an establishment and its structure, how it is, made to attend to all those issues in the Niger Delta area. What have you seen? How are you prepared to fight this corruption? Because invariably, what has happened, the failures, abandonment, and all of that must have been as a result of false corruption and other vices.
Number one, even the idea of giving out a job to somebody that does not have the requisite skill is corruption on its own. Then the idea of bloating the contract is also corruption. Even collecting money and abandoning the site is also corruption. And then, of course, we've had also, in my view, a lot of political interference. People have not actually allowed the NDDC to work as it ought to. And people coming with ideas not to move the region forward, but to move their pockets forward. It has always been so. Before I became a governor in Akwa Ibom, people used to say so much money was going to this region, but so little was seen on the ground. But my brother, I tell you, by the time I left office, I had about 560 completed projects, but not commissioned. And I left landmark projects, which you can see. Today, you go in there and you see those landmark projects everywhere. But that is Niger Delta. I was very determined and I was angry. You need to be angry with the situation of the NDDC to change NDDC. I was angry with what was going on even in my state. And I wanted to prove that government can work. And I showed that government could work, and government worked. In the same vein, here we are today. I'm not running NDDC, I'm only a minister, but my job is to supervise the NDDC. Mr. President has delegated that function, and he has ordered me to ensure proper supervision of the Niger Delta Development Commission. I'm assuring you that things are going to change. Yes, the corruption you are talking about are done by human beings. And if you do not, if you have conscience, you will know that even though the Bible says that if you walk in the pulpit, you can eat from the pulpit, the Bible did not say you should steal the pulpit. What has been happening in Nigeria, including the NDC, have been people coming in and attempting to steal the pulpit. And when you steal the pulpit, it means no other person can preach. And that is why the region is the way it is. It's across the strata. It all depends on individuals. And let me tell you, as we are starting now, you'll see what will happen. Because when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. You'll see the plethora of petitions. You'll see the kind of innuendos. You'll see the things they will throw at Mr. President. And then you see what they will throw at the minister. Everything will come out today. And then we've already started. Some of the contracts that they gave in NDDC that led to wastages that we felt were unnecessary, we have already terminated those contracts. as I speak with you now. And some of the commissioned contracts, we have terminated them. We are getting threats and calls and all sort of things. And I think people were treating the place as an ATM. Where you just walk in there to go and pluck money and go away. I don't think they were looking at it as an interventionist agency or an agency that could change the story of the Niger Delta. And that is the reason why a region that ought to produce jobs, that ought to export fruits, that ought to even make water. If, for instance, we are planning for post-amnesty today, and we have something like a pie water, post-amnesty initiative water, for instance, we could sell it not just to the region alone, but to the whole of southern Nigeria and even beyond. But nothing like that is happening. No single factory, no industry, nothing. There's really need for us to change the story. And I assure you that yes, corruption or no corruption, there are individuals who are determined to change things. And when you are determined to change things, you change things. And today we are talking about misintegrity. In the whole of Africa, President Buhari is one president that you know will not dip hands into the funds of NDDC. He's so concerned that he's saying, go and investigate it. And investigate me too. If I had anything to do with what has happened so far. We are on it.
All right.
Things are going to change.
All right. I would like to thank you immensely at this point for your time, sharing your thoughts and your opinion on the issues. It's been wonderful having you on the program tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right. I've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio. You're still on Weekend File. We'll be back shortly.
Go back. Go advanced options. Then choose installation. Then go to